Alrighty guys, welcome back to Ether Bennett's Garage. Today, I'm going to take this GM box that's leaking power steering fluid everywhere and put it on this rusty old Scout. So, many of y'all don't know, or probably know, but yeah. It's a manual Scout box right here that's been cut off. It's no power steering, and for this, with these custom axles, a little bit bigger diesel, we want power steering. So the first step is got to cut all this off, which there's also a radiator bracket, which we cut that off. Now it's time to making this go in there. First step is we hung it with this little rope from that engine hoist, so that way you get it set in the proper position you want. And you gotta, we're about to drill the holes for it. But with this box, if you notice, that is definitely, those holes are recessed. So we took a bushing that he had and cut it down. These are just suspension bushings because we were swapping these axles. And these are too short. Don't think too hard about that. But we had them laying around. And they happen to be the same size as these threaded holes. So we cut them a 1/2 inch with the Milwaukee bandsaw, and this is our piece of plate, because with where all this stuff is going to be mounted and with the radiator going in here, we're gonna have to mount it pretty low. This chalk mark right here is the top eye for the steering box, so it's going to sit a little low, but we're confident that this is going to be beefy enough. And then we'll gusset it, plate the whole frame is going to be plated, and it's going to fit. A drill press would be nice, but we're using this trusty old Milwaukee mag drill. They're 9/16 holes. And then, because we're going to bolt one hole is going to go through the frame rail, we're going to drill a 1-inch hole into the frame rail and put this bushing in there. So that way we can have our bolt be on this side, or the head be on this side, and you tighten it down and don't crush your frame rail. A couple other things to consider. Pitman arm location, which with this being a GM box, you can get all kinds of different configurations. But we honestly think that one's going to work. Surprisingly, crazy how it works. And so we're going to get to drilling these holes, and then mocking that up there once we get these drilled, because we're drilling all three, and then we're gonna bolt the bottom two to the box, put that on the frame, take the box off while we have that either tacked or clamped to the frame. We're gonna drill our hole through the frame. It's gonna be pretty interesting. I'll take you along for the ride. We'll be back in a second. So we got our holes drilled with that, which this frame is like boxed and it has this lip here. So whenever we drilled that side, because we drilled it from the inside out, whenever it caught this lip, I mean, it shut the mag drill off. But we took my little DeWalt die grinder right here with a Harbor Freight carbide in it, and just shaved it down real nice like, and then we drilled that side, which it was not easy to drill with this, but it works. And we had to do a little bit of work with a die grinder, but now, I mean, the pin fits beautifully in here. I mean, I couldn't ask for much better. So now, we're just time to go ahead and finish welding our plate out right here, and then weld this on there, bolt the box on. So, we got our button right there welded in, and then I hung the thing from there, and we tossed it in here. And right now, basically just the top bolt is on there. We don't have long enough or short enough bottom bolts, but if you look, you can see that the light is where the steering shaft's gonna be. So it's like not gonna be some wonky steering shaft angle. We have the drag link that came with these axles is somehow the right length. Like, I don't even ask questions on that. And basically, we're just gonna tack it on there, weld it on there, and then you can add like a gusset there, probably a gusset there, beef this up, and then imagine this with a nice little bumper on it, little hoop, maybe a light bar, little Yeti cooler mount, and just a couple necessities right there. A couple things done to this since I was here last was that got cut off and retacked on because it was slightly crooked. It bothered some people. And then we went from a 4-inch shackle here to a 5-inch, and then added this piece of DOM there for extra rigidity. And then he finished up the rear suspension and ended up cutting the frame rail off. Cut the frame off, welded that on there. We're still gonna be able to put a bumper on here. I mean, just space it out on the frame and come off. Still be able to put a bumper on there, but very, very strong. You're not gonna tear that up. Shackle has plenty of movement. Very happy with that. He did get a GM column from the junkyard. It's out of like a OBS. Honestly, the same truck that the steering box came from, this came from. Need a little bit of a new steering wheel action here. But that way it'll have blinkies, tilt column. We are going to have to notch this a little bit to get it to go in as far as we want for the high beam module. But other than that, it's really coming together. This is the same steering shaft from that truck. He got it just because it was there. Didn't really, like, why not? But very, very pleased with how this went in there. Honestly, the drag link, you want this to be as flat as possible, because whenever you go over a bump, the flatter it is, the more your tires are going to stay straight. But it's high steer. I mean, like, if you look at it from the side, I kind of thought it was gonna look goofy, but it's really not bad. And then you're not gonna see any of that from the front end because there's gonna be a nice little bumper on the front of it. And then we put the hood on because we were seeing if this radiator was gonna fit, and it'll fit really good, just like it did before. But yep. So, alrighty, I guess this might be a little bit of a shorter video, but hope y'all enjoyed it. That's how you swap a steering box that doesn't belong to a place where it needs to be. Y'all don't have too much fun.